You're watching News Night here on Arise News from Nigeria's capital. We'll be continuing our discussions now on the not too young to run bill. Well, younger presidential aspirant under the APC, Adamu Garba, and Chinedu Onyegbule, energy consultant and political aspirant for the Federal House of Representatives, join me in the studio tonight. Welcome, gentlemen, for joining me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
First and foremost, I'm going to begin with the just recently concluded Not Too Young to Run Summit. And of course, we do know there's been a lot of controversy, particularly with the fact that the Senate President, Bukola Saraki, took that event to declare his presidency. You were at the event, so tell me, what do you make of that?
Well, thank you so much. I was at the event on the invitation of the Not Too Young to Run platform. And the purpose of the event, at least from what we were told, was to engage with the heads of political parties on the issues that we as political aspirants were facing going into the elections.
Yes.
So our expectation going into that summit was not to come to unwillingly endorse or support the candidacy of the Senate President. There's been several interpretations of what happened, why he had to choose the platform to do that. But from our own side of our expectation was that we're coming there to engage with the party leadership and to inform them of the issues that we face as aspirants going into election.
Okay, Adamu, I'm not sure you were at the event. It was a PDP event.
It was a PDP
so
event,
naturally. But then again, when you look at that kind of action, does that in any way defeat the aim of the Not Too Young to Run law that was recently passed?
You know, we are heading to election year, so everybody is looking at the low-hanging fruit. Everyone wants to take advantage of the larger demography, which is the youthful population of Nigeria.
Yes.
So I believe the action was not a good one, although there are several interpretations, as my friend here said. But to the best of my knowledge, it is not actually the best thing to gather youth on the platform of Not Too Young to Run Summit, whereby youthful aspirants were there to discuss their own issues relative to their parties. And there we have someone who is having almost a son that is qualified to contest the position he's sitting on,
yes,
and then taking advantage of that purpose. So I don't think it's a good thing. And I think it's also reflecting that the youthful population of Nigeria are poised to produce the next president of the country. So we are very, very important demographic part of Nigeria. So that's exactly why I guess he did it. And of course, the youths are going for the youths this time around. That is why I believe personally, I represent the holy grail for the APC. Because I'm the surest way for APC to come back to power in 2019.
Now, you are the surest way for APC to come back to power in 2019.
Yes, absolutely.
Now you're going for the presidency.
I'm going for the presidency.
But then again, now there are reports coming in that, of course, allegations that the APC's direct primary is perhaps a plot to bring Buhari back to power for a second term. Does that in any way scare you?
At all, it does not. And I can tell you why. This is telling every other person, including those listening to this, that they have opportunity to produce the next president of Nigeria via the primary election. Previously, it used to be a delegate system where you gather people in the room and then incentivize them with a certain amount of money and then they do your bidding. But now, it's going to every Nigerian, provided you are a card-carrying member of the APC, you can be able to choose who should be the candidate under the party platform. To the best of my knowledge, I think this is an expression of a defined democratic principle that we had been agitating for. I consider it a success of my party, and I consider my party to be one of the most democratic institutes in this country for advocating for direct primaries and even adopting it in the presidential system and all other system of elections that are coming.
Okay, I will come back to you on that.
Yes, yeah.
But Chinedu, let me come to you. This Not Too Young to Run law that was recently passed, one would naturally assume that, okay, it would create an enabling environment for Nigerian youths to participate. But has it met the aim? Has it met the purpose?
Well, any legislature that becomes law is a process. The expectation, people's expectation shouldn't be that things would happen overnight. So we've started the process, and we're hoping that this process leads to something that is more tangible, which is one, attracting younger people into politics, younger, more competent, qualified people that have credibility, character, competence, into the political sphere to challenge the status quo. I can assume that my dear brother who is running under the current administration's platform is an indictment to the current administration. He's saying that I don't believe in the current president's capacity, and I believe I can do a better job than he's doing. So,
okay, now speaking of doing a better job than the president, I mean, there are arguments here and there about the fact that youths might not necessarily be ready psychologically, physically, and mentally to handle the challenges Nigerians facing at this point.
I think that is a very wrong assumption to make. If you look at political campaigns, especially in Nigeria, you find out that it's mostly the youth that are actually driving and running those campaigns. But what happens is the main political...
Yeah, but many would argue that, I mean, the youth basically do their campaigns on social media, which is not just enough. It's not something tangible that people can actually look up to or hold to account for such political offices.
Well, I'm sure you get to this, but there are several issues why some of us younger ones cannot be on the same seat with these older ones. So, one being that amount of money that is required and necessary to run a political campaign is not easily available to most of the youth that have the credibility, the capacity, or the character to go into politics. The main motivator for the not too young to run was to begin to challenge those old goons that have been in power from the 1960s. Because we've noticed that the political class is dominated by politicians that have continued to perpetuate themselves in power without transferring power or mentoring or empowering younger people to take over from them. So that is a problem that we have, and that is a problem that we hope to change by bringing younger people into the polity.
Okay. Now, Adamu, let me come back to you. Now, you've spoken glowingly about the APC and all, and I mean your aspirations and how hopeful you are. But do you have 55 million naira?
To be very sincere with you, me and my supporters can generate 55 million naira and buy the form. But I cannot stay here and support that, because I might not be the only contestant. And we have 2023, we have 2027, we have 2020s and 2030s and 40s.
Exactly.
Many people are coming to contest. So if you allow a progression from 22 million to 55 million to continue, only God knows what will happen in 2023.
Because as a matter
And
of fact,
yes,
when you get to the office, the first thing you would want to do is to recoup your 55 million naira.
and this is a problem, because several people from the 1.1 million naira state assembly upward, there are several competent people that can be able to fit into these seats, but because of that amount of money, they will stand disenfranchised. So therefore, we will have to submit a communique, which is what we are planning by Monday, to the party to review this course down, because it's not all about me now, it's about the larger, younger population that are contesting.
Yes.
And to the best of my knowledge, I don't see any reason where money that is in your pocket should be a measure of your qualification to be a party leader, other than your capacity and competency and your ability to deliver the right result and the right votes that the party requires. That's what I see. So to the best of my knowledge, I think 55 million naira is outrageous for the presidency, and all other costs, including the 1.1 million naira, is still outrageous. So we are going to talk about that with my team, because this is something that we have consulted within the young aspirants within the APC. We are going to discuss this, and we are sure party is listening, and they are going to bring down the price to a reasonable value.
Okay, Chinedu, I mean, I don't know how much exactly it is that you are paying to contest for the Federal House of Representatives. So you want to tell me?
It's clearly not as much as the APC and PDP. But even, in fact, that was why one of the motivating reasons why we were invited to be part of the engagement with the PDP stakeholders, because we wanted to question them why you have to impose such strenuous amounts on your aspirants or candidates.
Yes.
For one, is not sustainable.
Yes.
And for a country like Nigeria, where majority of the population live under the poverty line, and you expect credible candidates to come through a process like that, the only kind of candidates that you can expect to afford forms like this are people that have access to power, access to the resources that come with power. And that is an issue that we want to confront. It is not, it is out of character.
Okay. Adam, you are going for the presidency.
Yes.
Naturally, people would want to see something. I mean, like a roadmap for which you're aspiring for that kind of political position. So, I mean, what exactly is it for? I mean, on ground for people to see, for people to, I mean, something that you've done, something tangible that people can put their hands on to say, oh, this is why I'm voting for you as president?
Yes, actually, I modeled my life completely around the Nigerian dream since the beginning. And the vision to become the president of Nigeria started with me since 2003. And that is why I worked for almost 12 years to develop one of the most robust program and manifestos that I drop on adamugarba.org, that I believe there is no any presidential aspirant in the history of this country have ever articulated clear vision, articulating and proposing solution to all the problems we have in this country. Now, and I try to model it around my life because I started life as an Almajiri boy in the street of northern Nigeria from a very humble background. Now passes through a lot of hurdles and climbing up till when I reach a point whereby I establish a company, IPI Solution Nigeria Limited, a Microsoft partner, one of the largest Microsoft partners in sub-Saharan Africa, currently servicing about 39 African countries with 45 employees, with offices in Lagos and Abuja. This is exactly the kind of quality of Nigerian youths if they have opportunity and the platform. So whoever is telling you that we don't have the capacity, we, the youthful population of Nigeria, have the capacity to translate zeros and one. If you check almost all the economic sectors in Nigeria that are bringing huge chunk to our GDP, are the sectors that contributed, that the youth contributed significantly to its making. If you go back to agriculture, if you go back to trade and investment, if you go back to manufacturing, if you go back to entertainment, if you go back to almost all the sectors of Nigerian economy, it's the youthful demography that is maintaining it. Today, our youths are dying on the military front. Today, our youths are the people that are maintaining the so-called people around the political power. Without the youth as an SAs and other things, they could not be able to do anything. So we have the capacity, and we are the true Nigerians because we are the people that are born 1960s above. And that is why we understand that Nigeria is actually not a political entity. It is an economic entity. The whole reason why British drew a line and gave us independence as this entity is simply because of the economic advantages ordained in that land. And that is why we are where we are today. So, but our leaders have been moving around the leftist, Leninist, Marxist ideology that, you know, that is shaped by the Cold War. So they are only thinking around political entities. They created political zones. We are proposing to change that to 9 economic zones, not political zones, and so many other things that we are trying to do to make sure that Nigeria become one of the greatest nations in the world by the year 2035.
Okay, if I leave, you're just going to be rumbling here and there. But Chinedu, on a final note, I mean, what exactly, I mean, should your people be expecting from you as you go to the House of Reps to represent them? That's if you win.
Well, it's like you rightly said, if I do win, but I do hope to win, and I'm for all of us that are going to political office, our goal is to offer ourselves for service and give it our all, and by God's grace, we know that we'll get there. So my goal is to engage with my constituents, and I have a social contract with them. It's called FACTS. Okay. That as I get into the National Assembly, I'm going to hold myself to that social contract. The F is fiscal responsibility. I'm going to be fiscally responsible with the resources allocated to me as a legislator. The A is accountability. I'll be accountable to them as a legislator.
All right, Chinedu and Adamu, thank you so much for coming on Newsnight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving ahead now, several support groups of former Vice President and presidential aspirant Atiku Abubakar have picked his nomination form from the main opposition party, PDP, in Abuja. In a brief ceremony at his campaign headquarters, the support group said that they were motivated to buy the form on Atiku's behalf by the failure of leadership and direction of the Buhari administration. Rotimi Michael watched the presentation